Isicsb board meeting for June. Holly, could you please call roll?
Yes. Luke Erfolding.
Erfolding present, representing communication centers.
Mindy Benson.
Mindy Benson's present, representing Iowa Emergency Management.
Curtis Woten. Don't think he's. Michelle Bischoff.
Present, representing fire departments.
Jeff Vanderwater.
Present, representing Sheriff's Office.
Becky Updike.
Present, member at large.
And do we have any legislative members on the phone? Okay. And we do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll just go right into today's agenda. I would accept an approval or a motion to approve today's agenda.
Erfolding a motion.
Second.
Benson will second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor of passing the agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That brings us to the approval of the meeting minutes for May 8th. I'll entertain a motion.
Benson will motion.
Vandy Water will second.
I have a motion and a second for the approval of the meeting minutes from May 8th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. That brings us to the SWIC report. SWIC Nichols.
Thank you, Chair Bischoff. Good morning. I just have a short report. We have done some outreach events. We went to Floyd County to do some training in their dispatch center on patching and on status board. They have been live on system for about 5 months, and they invited us up there, working very well for them. We also were in Lucas County. We had a very large group of fire, medical personnel, EMS, and hospital. We had a really great discussion on interoperability in the county. They have kind of a mixed system down there, so it was just a great discussion, and I had help from Chad Roberts with DPS. There was a Carroll County EMS and hospital communications functional exercise this week. That was a very successful event. It was well planned and well run. The RIC 6 was held in Dubuque. That was yesterday, planned to talk about FirstNet coverage. It was nice to have an in-person meeting and get their information and discussion on their FirstNet coverage gaps in preparation for the July 8th FirstNet coverage meeting we'll have at DPS. The IMED grant funds are still paused, and we've had no official words since February 21st on that. And then the COMT was held June 2nd through the 6th over in Cedar Rapids. The state instructors put on that course were Deputy Swick-Walser and Colonel Hedgepeth. And Deputy Swick-Walser can give a report on that since he's in the room here.
Thank you. Yeah, so we had 10 total students, 2 from the state of Illinois. The rest were all Iowa-based, including state and local participants. Haley, you attended a number of the days there to represent the SWIC's office. And we also had Nick Brazinio did some student teaching, if you will, to try to get ready or prepared to be an additional state instructor. These courses take a minimum of 2 instructors. CISA won't let you hold them with less than that. And right now we only have 2 state instructors. So it would be nice to add to the available cadre. It was a 5-day course. It was well supported by CISA. They got us the tools and equipment. Appreciate Haley's help with getting the materials printed and ready to go ahead of time. It really made things go smooth, and the feedback has been all positive. So it was, again, a really good course, and we had really good students. Look forward to working with everyone in the field when necessary.
Yeah, thanks, Wally. And also thanks to a number of people. He didn't mention ECC Myers, who did some running behind the scenes. I'll just mention that he ran down to Kansas City to get a CompT kit that we weren't sure was going to arrive from NIWIC, which did end up showing up. Just for everyone's information, if you didn't know, through the cuts at the federal government, the contractors who usually come and have presented these courses to us in the past, those contractors have gone away. And so the TA courses are just a little bit more difficult to put on here. And so we are lucky to have those 2 instructors that we currently have, 3, counting Nick because he can teach COM-L. And we are planning to put on a COM-L course in September. CISA will send one of their individuals who will then evaluate another person who will hope to create another instructor for the state. Then those people like Wally and Colonel Hedgepeth have to take a week away from their regular duties, their regular jobs, and volunteer to put on these classes. And then, their agencies allow them to do that. So really thankful for the time they take to do that for us. And in the future, probably in order to have these courses, that's what we'll be looking at if we want to hold any more courses. So that's all I have for now, unless there's any questions for me.
Thank you, Swick-Nichols. 911 Council Report, Program Manager Darushi.
Thank you. Today, prior to the Isicsb meeting, we did have our 911 Council meeting. Just for those who might not have seen, Senate File 659 that does rearrange some of the surcharge was signed by the governor. We did have Director Benson from our office come in and talk through that. And if you're interested in things such as 911 funding, I would encourage you to watch the 911 Council meeting once it's posted on our YouTube channel. Additionally, we will be holding a webinar next Wednesday for implementation of that. So that'll be sent out to PSAPs and service boards as well as recorded. So next Wednesday, look for a calendar invite later today. Look for a calendar invite later today for next Wednesday. Additionally, we've talked in the past that independent of each other, both of our 911 data centers in the state are relocating or closing. So we have to work through what that looks like, moving those facilities. We're in the process of that plan review right now and expect to have the final decisions made probably next month sometime. During the council meeting, we did approve some of the training applications that were received over the course of the last month. We are going to be printing more 911 children's activity books, both in English and Spanish. Those will be provided to PSAPs and available for anyone who wants additional copies. We're printing 17,500 English copies and 3,000 Spanish copies. Additionally, then, for next fiscal year's training fund, we did approve a NINA CTO course for Dallas County, as well as a 6-month extension of the online learning management portal. So that was all completed today during the 911 Council meeting. I would take any questions.
Great. Are there any questions for Program Manager Darushi? Thank you.
Thanks.
User Group Committee and Chair Vandewater.
We had no pending applications for the May users group meeting, so it was canceled. That concludes my extensive report.
Very well. Are there any questions for the user group and Chair Vandewater? Great, thank you. That brings us to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee did meet this week and reviewed the financials. The financials all is in order. And you can see the balance there on the screen. And we have nothing further to report. It was a very, very normal month. Are there any questions regarding our finances? That brings us to governance. Chair Nichols.
Yeah, governance met on June 2nd. We had a pretty short meeting. We are without a governance chair right now. We did discuss progress on SCIP Objective 1.1, and that we discussed that no comments have been received on the 30-day comment period on our policy 25-01.g that appears in new business. Okay. That's the end of the report.
Great. Are there any questions regarding governance? That brings us to operations. Chair Erpelding.
Thank you. Operations was scheduled to meet on May 13th. Due to limited number of members being present, agenda items were then pushed to Wednesday, June the 4th. We did host that meeting with 6 members being present. During that meeting, we worked to finish up the work on 2 standards, the radio emergency call and aircraft. And those 2 items will appear in new business, both for 30-day comment and approval. That will conclude my report at this time.
Great, thank you. Are there any questions for operations? And we'll be acting on those under new business. Training and Outreach Committee, Chair Nichols.
Hi, yeah, thank you. I missed the Training and Outreach Committee. I was on vacation, but I did watch it on their video. They talked about audible alert tones, which has just been reviewed by operations. Training is tasked with creating a training module for that standard, and so they discussed that procedure and what it might look like. That's the end of my report.
Great, thank you. Any questions regarding training and outreach? Next is the Technology Committee, Chair Updike.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The Technology Committee met on June 5th. I was unable to head that meeting, but hopefully Haley can pick up the slack for me here. We did some work on the standard 4.9.0, and Haley, can you update people on what was done?
Yep, absolutely. So took a look at 4.9.0 software location. This standard defines the locations and responsibilities of the primary archive software copies and the configuration backups for the Isicsb platform. It was a timely topic after the cyber workshop hosted at Westcom the day previous. The system administrators were on that call. The only recommended update to the standard was to update outdated language the tech community is moving away from and change the word master to primary throughout the standard and grammatically rearrange one sentence. No substantive changes were necessary. That'll be put back into the review process and looked at in 3 years' time. That's the end of the report.
Thank you.
Patrick, did you have anything further?
Nope, that ends my report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very well. Just wanted to give you the space you needed. Next is the FirstNet Broadband Subcommittee. Chair Benson.
Thank you, Chair Bischoff. Excuse me. The FirstNet Broadband Subcommittee met on Tuesday of this week. We didn't really have any action items, but we did discuss the upcoming enhancement coverage workshop, which will be July 8th during a normal business meeting, which will start at 9 o'clock. We have been in the process of sending out invites. So if you would like to be included in that during the meeting, we will have, or we Tom Lampy will be showing several coverage maps. We will be having some discussion. Those maps will not be broadcast during the normal online meeting. So if you do want to see those, please come in person. It will be at the DPS building there in Des Moines. If Tom is on the meeting, he will be talking about that here a little later during his portion of this meeting here during other reports. If you would like an invite to that, please let myself or Holly know. We'll get you that sent out. But other than that, that concludes my reports. If there's any questions, please let me know.
Great. Are there any questions regarding FirstNet for Chair Benson?
Thank you.
Excellent. That brings us to other reports and information sharing with board members. I have nothing to share. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to share amongst the board members? Very well. That brings us to the sysadmin report and Scott Richardson.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Al Paridis, and as one of the system administrators, today I'm going to provide an update about the Isicsb system. It's always crucial for us to know how many IDs are active, connected, and using the system. As this morning, the system has 46,000 active IDs, 3,600 talk groups, and more than 7,000 active radios at any given time. Last month, the system handled over 3.5 million push-to-talks, showing just how much everyone's relying on it to get things done. Now, to ensure the system is always there when we need it, preventive maintenance is key. The Des Moines metro area sites are scheduled for maintenance this month, with each site going offline for an expected 4-hour downtime from 9 in the morning to 1 p.m. on different days. The monthly Moto patch for Windows client has been performed. As a reminder, please don't forget to reboot the console to finish the patching process. Also, Motorola will be performing the quarterly core patching Monday the 16th next week. Services such as Wave and Smart Connect are some of the services affected by this. On Tuesday 17th, a sound controller rollover will be performed twice, the first one at 12:40 p.m. and the second one at 4:40 p.m. This means all sites in Zone 1 and Zone 2 will go into site trunking for a brief period, likely less than 3 minutes. Dispatch sites will see red X's and they should have their backup radios ready to go during the outage, just in case they are needed. Motorola will set up a conference call for those dispatch centers that would like to join for this event. With that, I conclude my report, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Great. Thanks, Al. Appreciate it. Are there any questions for our sysadmin? That brings us to the FirstNet Authority. Tom Lampy.
That's good timing. I just jumped on.
Oh, very well.
I'm up in another meeting, and I looked at my watch. Oh my gosh. So thank you. I'm going to give you a quick update. We finished. I don't know if anybody went to 5x5 in Seattle, but that concluded last week. That was a huge success for all the up and coming good and great things that are happening with the network and the future technologies. Got a lot of good reports from that. I was in Region 6 yesterday with the committee and a couple sheriffs over there about the July 8th meeting. You should note that we're having that coverage enhancement workshop during the broadband committee meeting on the 8th at DPS. And just a reminder, what we're doing with that is we're, as you know, or you may not know, all the investment dollars that we get from AT&T for the use of our spectrum gets put right back into the network for the technology of the network, for infrastructure, for coverage. So this enhancement workshop for coverage is, we're going to show you what we see that Iowa has for coverage. We're going to show you what we see off data that you may need more coverage for what's called areas of interest. Public safety may need that. And then you're going to provide us with the state of where we missed it, which we fully expect. We can't get it perfect. That's good and fine, but up here we have trouble. So that's what that about a 2-hour meeting will be for. Looking at stuff on the map and drawing polygons later to show where the coverage is needed, and it puts it where we're going to spend the money across the country. It's not, we've got $3 billion each time we do this. It's a 10-year project. That doesn't mean that you divide $2 billion by 56 states and territories. It's all about the need for the coverage of what we need for public safety and how that money is spent the best way we can spend it. And that's what we talk about during that meeting. So if you're interested, please show up. I'm sure Mindy will allow you to come to it. But that's what's happening on the 8th of July. Other than that, I don't really have any more, but if I'll take any questions.
Great. Are there any questions for the FirstNet Authority? Great. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, you bet.
AT&T update. I know Bart is out of the office, but is someone here from AT&T in his stead? All right, hearing none. That brings us to the CISA update and Chris Myers.
Thank you, Chair Bischoff, and good morning to the board. Always appreciate the time to speak. So we'll start off today. A new product is out from CISA geared specifically towards communications, most notably artificial intelligence in emergency communications centers. This could be a PSAP. This could be a dispatch center for a hospital, law enforcement agency, what have you. But artificial intelligence is gradually being adopted across the country in communication centers as a decision support tool. How this is being adopted varies quite a bit from center to center and state to state. This is very much like baseball, where it's different strokes for different folks. But what we've seen so far is that AI has been used to assist in navigating things associated with staffing shortages, budget constraints, along with increased work demands. It's one of those things where tasks may be able to be offloaded in some way, shape, or form, and AI has been able to help out with that in some areas. One thing that is necessary when you're looking at incorporating AI-based tools into operations is that there needs to be a significant evaluation for not only operability with yourself, but interoperability with your neighbors, security, and then of course resiliency. Because if you build something into that public safety communications environment, you want it to work even in austere scenarios. This infographic discusses that, along with the highlights on how emergency communication centers are using AI to triage, translate, transcribe incoming calls. Think about some of the things you may need with language line. There's a lot of different languages out there and regional dialects, and AI is assisting some centers with managing that. They are also using it to confirm critical data associated with the call and also identify inaudible background noises. A lot of times those inaudible background noises can give a lot of clarity on what's happening during that call, and AI has been helpful with that in some scenarios. It's also been used to improve quality assurance processes and also work with enhancing first responder situational awareness. Again, the outlook for AI integration in each center is going to vary depending on the center, depending on their clientele, depending on who they dispatch for, and all sorts of things. This infographic is helpful in kind of developing a very basic concept of what that could look like for you. It is available on our website for download. If you can't find it, just let your SWIC, Haley, or I know, and we'll get you a copy of it. It is a very good read, though, and it does have a lot of pictures in addition to limited numbers of words. So it does convey a nice visual representation of how this could look. Some regional news of note for Iowa. In addition to the work we have going on with Iowa for TAs, we do have some scheduled technical assistance that's coming up for the Kansas City Metro. These are directly associated with FIFA 2026 preparations. We have a COML course that we're working on rescheduling. That will probably be sometime this fall. We're wrapping up a tactical dispatcher course tomorrow. And then, of course, we are having an incident communications manager course taking place July 21st to 23rd. Of note about the INCM course in July, that is open regionally. So if you have anybody that wants to take this course, it could be worthwhile. INCM courses don't come along all that often, and INCMs are basically tasked with supervising the tactical dispatchers in a more austere and we'll call it extended operating environment where you may have tactical dispatchers in the field. It is a good course. I've sat through much of it already. But this is open regionally. So if you have anybody that wants to kind of see how that is done, they will be able to attend. After that, we have a ComEx that is scheduled for August 26th and August 27th for exercise play dates. That is going to be FIFA focused, but it will also be open regionally. Recently, we just got another exercise kicked off with Cape Girardeau. That is taking place August 18th through the 20th. If you're not familiar where Cape Girardeau is, it is just south of St. Louis by about an hour or so. That is going to be more of a traditional ComEx. There will be some unique injects with that as well. And of course, after that, we have the Red River Commune Boot Camp taking place along the Texas-Oklahoma border. That is going to be 6 concurrent courses occurring at once, followed by a one-day mini exercise. For those of you that may want to get instructor credentials, this may be an opportunity to get those taken care of as well. So just keep in touch with your SWIC Haley Nichols on that, and keep in touch with me, and we'll see what we can happen. Otherwise, that's what's going on around the region. I can go ahead and take any questions, Chair Bischoff.
Great. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate all of that wonderful information. Are there any questions for Chris regarding?
Chair Bischoff, this is Blake.
Yes.
Just
Absolutely.
a quick add-on to what Chris was talking about on AI. We have had a number of PSAPs reach out to us interested in that in the state of Iowa, and we are working on that with Zetron. So for those who are on shared services, what does that integration potentially look like from an engineering and cybersecurity perspective? So those talks are ongoing, and hopefully we have an update here in the upcoming months to actually bring that to Iowa as well.
Great. Fantastic. Are there any other questions or comments? Old business, there is none. That brings us to new business. Our first item of new business is to adopt Isicsb Standard 3.15.0 Regional Call Audio. Chair Nichols, could you give us a brief on this?
We have 3.15.
That's 3.8. We need 3.15, please. Thank you.
I think this has been up for 30 days, is that right, Holly? And we had no comments on it. It was reviewed, and I think it had just some enough major changes that we needed it to go for a 30-day comment. If you'll scroll down. So right there, we added some context in it. Holly, if you'll go up just a little bit there, sorry. We added some constraints in there. The call talk group audio is geographically limited to the region plus bordering counties. The call talk group audio is being forced to only the counties in the designated region. And then if you want to scroll down, we took some information out. Some of this locally owned subsystem sites under recommended procedure have tied into Isicsb and are exempted from audio being forced to sites by default. Are some of the important things we wanted the public to be able to be aware that we were taking out of the protocols. And under the recommended protocol portion, the locally owned subsystem sites are not included in this by default. We took out. We received no comment.
Great, thank you. With that understanding, I would entertain a motion to adopt Isicsb Standard 3.15.0 Regional Call Audio.
Newwater moves.
Benson will second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adopting the 3.15 standard as presented, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next item is adoption of Isicsb policy 25-01.g, the committee structure and leadership policy. So Nichols, would you like to give an overview of this?
Sure, yes, thank you. So this came about from reviewing the initial policy, which really outlined only the user group committee, and it was determined that each committee should be outlined in structure. So governance and the steering committee created this really detailed policy, and I think every committee had a really good opportunity to take a look at it. We could go through it here if anybody would like, but it received no public comments. It explains each committee, how they're made up, high level, the numbers and who should be on it. Each of these committees is obviously outlined in the skip on goals and objectives and their duties. If there's any questions, I can go into detail on what it says, but otherwise, we did not receive any comments on it.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I think this policy is really just showing the maturity of the committees and the board itself, and just gives us a little more consistent framework for our committees to function under. Just provides a little more guidance. We were doing all of this previously, but just now it's documented, and there's a place to point to. Are there any questions? Questions?
Yeah, Chair Bischoff, one comment I will have is the policy that preceded this. If this is adopted today at the next board meeting or soon, we will then have to probably do something with that previous policy, probably sunset it or whatever the terminology is.
Yep. Well, yeah, we'll have to inactivate it, archive it. Agreed. Yep. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
Ermeling make a motion to adopt policy.
And a second?
Benson will second.
Great. I have a motion and a second to adopt the Isicsb policy 25-01.g, committee structure and leadership. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our next item is the approval of a 30-day comment period for Isicsb Standard 1.5.2, Air Ambulance Emergency Landing Zone Coordination. Swick Nichols or Chair Erpelding? Could you provide a brief on this item?
I'll have Swick Nichols dive in the next two standards, as we did extensive work on these, including the title change. So
Yeah,
very well.
So operations took a look at this. There was a lot of comments from the committee on the standard. It goes along with a policy because there are some landing zone channels that were adopted by the board that go along with this. So those have been implemented into this standard. There was some comments that the word emergency wasn't necessary because maybe you would be landing aircraft in other situations and you would utilize the same procedures and talk groups or channels to land an aircraft not only in emergencies. So they wanted to rename it for that reason. So aircraft landing zone coordination and delete the emergency word from the entire standard. So that's the purpose of that. Holly, if you want to go down a little bit, then that's where in the capabilities we included where you could also find those air-to-ground channels in policy 2021-01.0. They're listed in the 217A. The operational context, that sentence there was reworded by a committee member. It really didn't change that didn't change what the paragraph said. It was just reworded, so I think we can move past that one. But the next, under recommended protocol, that's where we added another information about those channels from the 217A, so it was just added in there in the procedure. And again, the 217A is added in for aircraft that don't have Isicsb radios. And then this portion, these were just incorrectly listed with the Iowa channels instead of the regional channels. So there's a lot of red there, but it's just fixing some mislabeling of the channels in the standard. Talks about utilizing status board to help make sure that you've got the resource assignment. And so really the only real changes that change the policy are the changing of the name, taking emergency out of the standard and adding in that air to ground channels from the 217A that were adopted by the board.
Great, thank you. Appreciate the explanation and the walkthrough of the proposed changes. With that, I would entertain a motion to put Isicsb Standard 1.5.2 Air Ambulance Emergency Landing Zone Coordination out for a 30-day comment period.
Randy Water moves.
I have a motion. Looking for a second.
Ermeling will second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of putting the standard out for a 30-day comment period as discussed, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That brings us to an approval of a 30-day comment period for Isicsb Standard 3.8 emergency button. Swick Nichols.
Yeah, so they did a lot of work on this one. It was reviewed over numerous meetings. They did change the name of this one also. Button was changed to switch because of some different ways it was activated. So now they would like to call it emergency call and alarm activation throughout the standard. Wherever there was a button, they asked me to change that to switch. So that's where you'll see a lot of red. And then Holly, if you'll scroll down, you'll see under the capabilities, they added in revert, emergency programming, explanations, and tactical. You can scroll down just a little bit more. So there's the definition for what revert and what tactical is. Some sentences under the constraints. Interoperable events can present challenges that impact coordination during emergency activations. I think you can keep scrolling here. Most of this red is just that wording, but the major changes we're adding in revert and tactical.
And that just looks to be more of the same. So thank you for that explanation. Much appreciated. With that, I'll entertain a motion for the approval of a 30-day comment period for Isicsb Standard 3.8.0 emergency button.
Randy Water moves.
I have a motion. A second?
Benson will second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor of approving a 30-day comment period for the standard as discussed, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Our final item under new business is the approval of Rob Hedgepath's CompT instructor travel expenses. As has been discussed previously in this meeting, there was the CompT class due to changes with the federal government and how CISA has funding for TAs. Colonel Hedgepath found himself in a situation where he was going to have to incur lodging expenses in order to have that class go on. The Isicsb Finance Committee and Steering Committee discussed the option of us being able to fund that. It was just under $700 for his hotel stay and food. But we did want to bring that item before the board, and we need to make some considerations as to how this will be funded going forward. But this was one of those situations where this class had already been scheduled, students had already enrolled, and it happened last week. So that is the reason that we're bringing this item to the board in the rears, but thought it was valuable for those that the class continue on with that. So with that, are there any questions regarding this item? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion for the approval of the instructor and expenses Colonel Hedgepath had for the CompT class.
Benson will make that motion.
And a second?
Stripling will second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor of reimbursing Colonel Hedgepath for his expenses for the CompT class, please signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That brings us to public comment. Are there any members of the public that would like to address the board? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
And a second?
Randy, what?
All those in favor of adjournment, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? We sit adjourned. Thank you all for your time.